with the Pledge of Allegiance. So with that, could we all say the pledge? I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
of the
United
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now I think we have a guest singer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was exceptional. And I think that is the nephew of our treasurer, Denise Mordente. And we want to thank him for singing the Star Spangled Banner for us. The national anthem, national anthem. And with that, and I'm going to remind everybody to put your mics on mute if you're not speaking, especially the trustee with the skipper jack in the room. Okay. So first order of business is to approve the minutes from the meeting from July 10th, as they are submitted by Clerk Sakovich. And I believe
July 20.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
10th.
I apologize. July 20th, I apologize. Are there any additions, changes, corrections? Barb, did the Board of Trustees vote on? Okay, there it is. It's number 8, the rent reduction for Maritime Exploring. Just want to make sure it was there. Correct? Barb?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything from the trustees? Anything to add? Everybody good? Okay, thumbs up. All right, moving on with our agenda for this evening. We would like to, if in the event in the future we have any Article 75 civil service hearings for any personnel matters, instead of appointing a clerk or I'm sorry, a hearing officer for each one, Mr. Glass is recommending, our human resources attorney is recommending that we just appoint Mr. Bruce Kennedy. He had done a hearing for us in the past, and he is the counsel for a local village in Nassau County. So he is well versed in civil service law and also in how municipalities, in particular villages, operate. So his recommendation was just to appoint Mr. Kennedy as a hearing officer in the event we ever have a Article 75 civil service disciplinary hearing. Do we have any questions on that? Then we have, Brian, I had a point of order question. We have, I think, approved this project for East Beach. It hasn't gone out to bid. But we did approve the engineering. So is there a way to avoid having to approve components of a project like this that, so this part of getting the engineering done was the soil boring. So I guess we got some estimates, or the engineer provided with some estimates. And that is number 3 on the agenda, to provide the soil borings. These are the numbers that are provided by the engineer, correct, Joe?
Oh, Joe's on mute.
No, I don't think he's on mute. Joe Palumbo, can you hear me? I think Joe is
Yeah.
frozen.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you
Joe.
see me?
Yes,
Yeah, we
Joe.
can see you, but on my screen, you look kind of frozen. There you go. You're working now.
I,
Joe, you're on 2 accounts. I'm taking your first account out, all right?
Oh,
Will the real Joe stand up?
okay.
okay. So can I repeat my question, Joe? Can you hear me?
Now I can. I apologize for joining late. I had some significant issues signing on with my laptop, so I'm on my phone.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're with us. With respect to the boring, the test borings from Slack,
Correct.
those were the numbers we got from our from our engineer, correct?
That is correct. Originally, they had estimated the soil borings to be somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000. And as you can see here, the number came in at $7,010, and that's for both locations, Island Boulevard and East Beach.
Okay. 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 So I guess at this point, because we didn't put the project out to bid, this is how we have to approve this aspect of the project. I have no problem with that. Anybody else have any questions? I'm glad to see this numbers for both locations. And somebody's not muted and they're giving us tremendous feedback. And I think it's you, Joe. Okay, so next on the agendas, we have a proposal for our vendor who's, I'm still getting some major feedback from somebody. Joe, can you put yourself on mute?
Joe has 2 accounts going. The one that he's not on is the one that's getting feedback.
Jesus, come on. Who's helping us here? Is that better? Okay.
He has to
All right.
self-remove, which he did.
Okay. So we have a proposal for a 3-year contract to use parts of Centennial Beach for rack storage and Village Center Garage for storing the rowing machines. And this is for the Portchek Rowing Club, which we've had in place, I think, for a couple of years within the building. We were kind of doing a beta test with this organization, and now we have a full-blown proposal for them to enter into a formal license agreement with us for the next 3 years. And there's a revenue share component to this program as well at this point. The first year, I guess, being 20 grand. The second year, 2021, being 22.5, and the 2022 season thereafter, 25,000. This program started out with only a few participants. It's become a very rounded out program. For anybody who's been at the Village Center in the wintertime, you'll see they're utilizing the Village Center. Some of my concerns with this particular vendor have been addressed. He was leaving or taking over a lot of beachfront, and we've kind of relocated him over to one side. And also in the Village Center, we want to make sure that he's not occupying the entire first floor. He's not putting his signs up throughout the village and, soliciting membership. And so I think we've worked with him and managed some of those things that we're getting a little, overrun. So are there anybody else who has any questions? Stan, you want to talk a little bit about this program as well? You're on mute, but you're on mute. Thank you.
Am I okay now?
We can hear you now. Yes, sir.
Okay. We did have some concerns from some residents. Joe and I went down and looked over the area. The brush behind our own kayak racks is overgrown. We haven't trimmed it back, so we decided that if we can trim that back as far as we can, and we can move that rack that he put in for his kayaks over into that area, it would totally alleviate all of the problems that we have over on that other side. It would free up the picnic tables We would put a couple of more picnic tables in there. His kayaks would be in behind our kayaks. Would give him easier access to the beach. I think Brian checked with the old 1973 agreement that we had with Brookhaven. And I think it calls for recreational use for the village. I think once we overcome that, I think this is a great solution. He's got a good number of people in his programs now, mostly residents. I see no reason why we wouldn't go for it.
Do I have any other comments or concerns or questions from board members? And Kathy Ann or Bruce? Kathy Ann,
Yeah.
unmute, please.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Bruce, I'm sorry, I didn't see. I apologize, Bruce. Kathy Ann, you go first, and then Bruce DeBramo.
Okay. I went down there and, took a look myself and I understand the problems and I see the problems and I do agree with Stan as to where their racks should be. I think it makes a lot of sense and it frees up that front area in front of the parking lot for people to use and enjoy that aren't just dealing with the kayaks.
Thank you. Bruce DeBramo, you have to unmute, please.
I've watched this program grow over the last few years, and I'm happy that we have a longer term agreement with them. So good with it.
Thank you, Bruce. Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a new hire for our seasonal golf course maintenance position. Did we lose it? I guess we lost somebody, so I'm gonna.
We did.
Okay. We have a payment to Land Design Services for a program oversight and construction in conjunction with the master plan for Station Street. I believe significant engineer drawings have been completed. We've been working with PSE&G on the utility relocation for the new development on the corner and for our lighting issues concerning that street. We're going to be meeting with PSE&G in the near future, starting to map out that component of burying the utility lines. Mr. Bob Brown of Land Design has been working with us for quite some time, and he's been also coordinating and working with the developer, the Conifer developer, and the architect there to coordinate the project. So I don't really know how we would have gotten this far without him. So Barbara, do I need now another contract from Bob to move forward, or are we still in the I can't hear you, hon.
We need a new proposal from him. It's on my list to email him tomorrow.
Okay, because the old proposal did have construction oversight in it, so I'll review that with you when the new proposal comes in.
In the morning, okay.
Thank you. We have a request from Monica and Lou Bukowski at 5 James Way. The letter is pretty much self-explanatory. I think when for our residents, when they complete a project and they have a contractor involved and they submit all the final paperwork, I think sometimes they anticipate having the building inspector come out and do an inspection and close out an open permit. For many of our residents, life goes on. It's the last thing on their mind. And in this case, they found out that last or final inspection was never performed by the village after the submission of all their paperwork. So they're asking for relief from a $500 late fee, which I think, for me, does anybody have questions on why they're confused? Because I'm also a little confused. Okay. I'd like to appoint Andrew Thomas to the Architecture Review Committee for a term to end July 2022. Andrew is a sitting member of our Zoning Board of Appeals. He is an architect. I believe the committee consists at this point of 3 other residents, needs the leadership and the input of an architect. None of the other sitting members have any architectural experience. I know Adrienne Kessel used to sit on that, and she was had some design experience. So I welcome Andrew to help guide the committee. because our general election for trustees has been postponed till September, and Barbara will speak on that a little bit later. In reviewing all the other committees, we will add members at that time. We usually wait till after the election and do that as part of our organizational efforts. But I felt Andrew, who expressed an interest in helping, I think appointing him to the ARC now is a good thing since we have some larger projects going on. Would anybody care to comment? Bruce DeBramo.
I have a question. Andrew also sits on our zoning board of appeals. Is he going to continue to do that?
Yeah, I believe he is, and I don't believe there's any conflict of interest. Brian, is there a conflict of interest at all?
No, they don't have concurrent jurisdiction, so that's okay.
Right, and the
Good.
committee's only it can only recommend. They have no binding.
Right, it's not a board, it's a committee.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other questions or comments? We then have the warrants as presented by Treasurer Mordente, and we did have the sign off by our internal auditor with all being fully approved. Correct, Denise? I'm sorry, you just put yourself on mute, I think.
No, everything's fine. He assigned it and no questions.
Okay, good. And I like this warrant because it's a good number for us.
Very small, yes.
Very nice, low number. I like it.
Yep.
Are there any other action items? Are we missing anything that should be added to the resolution items? If not, I will then make a motion to approve 1 through 9.
I'll second the motion.
And all in favor? Aye. Lorraine, you have that? Can't see Lorraine. You have that vote, Lorraine? Okay. Okay, moving on to reports. Oh boy. Okay. Just want to really give everybody an update on COVID. I know that we've had for the last 3 or 4 days, we've had Suffolk County Board of Health and the State Liquor Authority down here in the village of Port Jefferson, checking on restaurants and merchants, checking for proper safety precautions in place in the establishments, making sure that patrons are approaching with masks on and staff are working with masks on in the front of the house and in the back of the house. They're also checking menus, making sure menus are appropriate. And I know that they're here because as we do, we care about making sure our establishments are safe and that the village is, operating in a safe environment for everybody who comes to visit and our residents as well. We have ongoing concerns about the lack of visitors wearing face masks. And I, again, want to just explain that our Code Enforcement Bureau does not have the jurisdiction to enforce the governor's mandates. When they see large groups of people, they're asking them to disperse and of course wear masks, but we do not have the authority to write that up as a code violation. I believe that our Suffolk County Police is going to be providing additional support to us on the weekends with the whiskey tour. I know after some incidents with the kids on bicycles and other things, I think that Kathy Ann will be reporting on. We were able to get through to Inspector Riley in the 6th precinct and confirm that we'll be having our whiskey tour, and perhaps we can confirm with Chief when they are going to start joining our men and ladies of the Bureau on the weekends. I wanted to give a quick update on LIPA and National Grid. Bruce Miller and I have Zoomed now with Mr. Foxon. He has submitted the phase 1 of the report he was to provide the Board of Trustees as far as existing conditions. That is in a draft format. Mr. Miller and I are going to be setting up a meeting with Mr. Foxon to go over that and also perhaps present it directly to the Board of Trustees in a PowerPoint slide format, which he has submitted. It's a lot of things going on here, folks. So I really think I owe a little bit of kudos to Mr. Miller for getting this thing back up and running and in front of us. We then also had a Zoom chat with representative from National Grid last week, and Mr. Foxon's second phase of our study will now talk about the future of our site and what we're looking to do there as far as repurposing our site, giving existing conditions and where we are heading to in the latter part of the 2020 decade. So that is an ongoing issue, and we are right where we need to be with that issue at this time. Barnum parking lot, I think, Joe, did you guys do a walkthrough with the contractor? of the property? Are you toured the property yet with the contractor?
Yes, we did that this morning
Okay,
with
good.
our engineer as well as F&F, who was awarded the contract to build. Marked out the locations for the excavation, identified the trees that will be saved versus removed as part of the project. And they expect to start sometime next week. Mobilization and excavation.
Okay, so as soon as we have that effective start date, I'd like to make sure that all the residents nearby are notified that the construction is going to be happening, the clearing of the lot. And then, of course, we're scheduling a press conference with Mr. Malone. 200,000 of the project costs are coming from Jumpstart, Suffolk County grant money. Thanking them again. In NYSERDA, we have a major lighting project. We had a few meetings with them, and they also came to Port Jefferson Village to look at how they're going to be establishing, some crates or storage containers to accept the supplies and how this project is going to roll out. I believe we're looking at construction starting in September. Is that correct, Joe? You're on mute.
Yes, they were here. We're having a little bit of an issue with the gateways, but I think we came up with a solution where the devices will be able to talk to each other, so we can control the lighting from a tablet or a mobile device, the software application. So I think we have a good solution with respect to making sure that the gateways will be able to be constructed uninterrupted and without any issue. And the project schedule start date is sometime in September and is expected as of now to be completed sometime, I believe, in January.
That's all weather permitting. They're going to start with the street lights first, and they're going to move to the recreational lights, and then they're going to come inside the facilities and do all the facility lighting. So that's a fantastic project. And then we also are, and now Joe, you can mute. Thanks. And we're also working them on, with NYSERDA on another project where they're actually, we submitted all our utility bills for all of our facilities, and they're looking at trying to get us some sort of shared program where we can reduce our utility bills by buying cheaper power through NYSERDA. This is only specifically for the municipal accounts. It's not something available to residents, unfortunately. We're looking for as many ways as we can to save money. If many of you don't know already, the Port Jeff High School Environmental Club is participating at the farmers market. They are recycling empty bottles of wine or alcohol to repurpose them and sell them down at the farmers market. They're raising money to help us clean our beaches. We're going to be talking about some other really neat projects with them moving into the school season. So look out for some really fun things coming through our environmental club. Edmund Software, we are upgrading all of the software in the village so that all our teams and different buildings can be working off of one platform. And our residents can also, instead of calling us or texting us or emailing us, if there's a concern or complaint, they can log it now through a new software system. So that concern will be received and then registered and given to the right department head and tracked so we can help you with accountability, making sure things are getting done. Likewise, on the country club side, we are using an antiquated system called 4Up that doesn't really work for private clubs. It's more of a municipal platform. So we're looking at moving over to another platform called Lightspeed. So we're constantly doing things to upgrade our technology and how we are impacting our residents and members through customer service. We are meeting tomorrow with the LIFES, which is a nonprofit organization which runs our before and after day school program. As you all know, school in the village of Port Jefferson will be reopening in the fall. And the before and after day care program at the village center is a big component of helping our working parents get back to work. So going to be going over the details with them tomorrow and hoping that we will be able to provide this very important before and after day school program to our children on an ongoing basis, 5 days a week. Want to thank the chamber for doing an outstanding job with painting some of the utility boxes around the village with beautiful murals. That's an ongoing project. We're going to learn a little bit more about that at our next chamber and bid meeting. But any beautification projects are welcome here in the village. Want to congratulate the Crest organization for finally getting the club, a public steakhouse, open. It is a restaurant up at our country club, open to the public. I encourage everyone to get up there and enjoy the beautiful view of the Long Island Sound and enjoy the menu. I think they've done a magnificent job on the renovation. It's beautiful, and the parking is easy and free. The 110th annual hill climb. This is a historic event in the village of Port Jefferson that we do every 5 years. There was a break in that tradition. We had done it now twice in my administration. We were planning on this year doing the 110th, but unfortunately, folks, I will give you the update. The event has been postponed until next year. A lot of the individuals who provide the antique automobiles come from great distances. They are of, unfortunately, an older generation, and so we are still fearful of putting them in harm's way with COVID. And so the Conservancy, who sponsors that with the Village of Port Jefferson, has elected to postpone that until the year 2021, as most of our major events have been postponed. So that's a disappointment, but for those of you who don't know it, the Village of Port Jefferson has a very rich history in building automobiles. When we were outdated with the steam engines and the sailboats and things of that nature in the early 1900s and late 1800s, we got into automobiles. So a very important date coming up, August 20th is the deadline to get public comment into the Building and Planning Department with respect to the Conifer project, which is the main project coming into the entrance of the Village of Port Jefferson from uptown. As you cross over the tracks, it's the first lot on the right-hand side, and that project is coordinated to be built in concert with the installation of our new street, Station Street. So please, if you have concerns about any of the project components, Conifer is receptive. They already did a redo of their facade. Some of the aspects of the project are technical, so they may not be able to change some things, but it's important to know that at least they were receptive to changing the look and feel of the south-facing facade. With that, it's a perfect segue into Trustee DeBramo's segment of the meeting. So I hand the mic to Bruce, and if you need to just unmute, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I titled this or asked for some time on Uptown Progress, but I started here. The mayor appointed me as a trustee in November of 2011, and one of the first assignments that she gave me was to work with the comprehensive plan update. Since then, we completed the update. We changed the zoning up in Upper Port, and then finally we received a couple of proposals. And Port Jefferson is competing with every other downtown throughout Long Island, and but I'm beginning to see that the early work that we did and changing the zoning, we've attracted at least 3 projects right now. One of them is way ahead of the others, but that's why I became a trustee, and that was always one of the issues that I was very concerned about, and I was fortunate enough to be on the to help the Board of Appeals and the Planning Board go through these things and make Port Jefferson a more welcoming community for this type of development. I believe that Uptown failed because there were not enough residents up there, and so our new zoning allows for commercial property on the first floor and lots of apartments. The apartments that the mayor just referred to, Port Jefferson Crossing, those are workforce. Those are workforce housing. The other 2 proposals that I've seen that the planning board is still working on, they're luxury apartments, and I think Uptown has room for both. I've decided not to seek re-election as a trustee, and I do it with a heavy heart. I've really enjoyed being here, and I loved working with all of the trustees and the various departments that I've had the pleasure to work with. I think we have like 99% really great employees here in the village of Port Jefferson, and those who have helped me out and supported me, I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm not going anyplace, not going away. You know, I have a small family business that because I lost my older brother, I'll have to step up a little bit there. And my late wife's sister is having some health issues, and I'm helping out on that side. But I ain't leaving this village, so so I just wanted to say thank you to those who've supported me, and thank you to my colleagues here on the board. Thanks.
I'd just like to comment. I think, Bruce, you will be missed. You brought a lot to this job as trustee, and I'm sure everybody on the board, including myself, thanks you for your service.
And Bruce, you also have a beautiful new grandson up in the Boston area. So you're still on mute, but we hope that you get to spend some time more time with Michael and your beautiful daughter-in-law and your grandson.
Yes, my granddaughter is going to be a year old.
Apologize.
That's all right.
Okay.
She's going to be a year old pretty soon, and you know, it'll be nice to spend a little more time with her. So thanks.
Yeah. You're very welcome. And thank you, Bruce, because you were appointed when we had a vacancy. You ran, I guess, 3 more times to keep your seat. And, you know, you've been what? I'm sorry?
I was going to say one of my elections was pretty close. Yes.
Oh, right. As Kathy is. And, you know, you've made a great a trustee and a great service to this community. And I know that you're going to continue to do that. As you indicated, you're going to stay involved and stay with the meetings. And if there's any of the committees or boards that you'd like to sit on, let me know.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Welcome. So with that, I'm going to move on to Mr. Laux, Trustee Laux. And you're on mute, Stan.
Bruce, I'm going to echo what everyone else said. I'm certainly going to miss you. I know I'm going to see more of you up at the golf course. Maybe I can tap you to work a little bit up at the golf course. But again, you've served a number of years, and we're certainly going to miss you. I do have some report to make tonight, short and sweet, I hope. From the Recreation Department, our camps are running. We're running at the beach, the Village Center, and the tennis courts up at the club. We're running with limited enrollment. We do have a waiting list. It's unfortunate, but because of what's going on, we've had to keep our enrollment down. Rocket Ship Park is unfortunately right now still closed. We are working on a way to get that place open. The Village Center is closed with the exception of the first floor. Harborfront Park is wide open, as is Texaco and the Centennial Park. Up at the Country Club, I want to expand a little bit on what Margot reported before. The club, which is what the Waterview is now calling the restaurant, opened on Thursday. I had the pleasure of going up there on Friday and again on Sunday. And I can tell you the dining was outstanding. The view, the service, the drinks, and everything was something that we've been waiting for a long time. And I encourage you people that are listening out there, go up and give it a try. I think you'll like it. This past Monday, we held a 9-hole scramble up at the golf course, followed by a barbecue. We had 90 people involved in this. It was a very successful social event. We plan on having a number more of those. The membership right now is in the middle of the club championships. Our membership numbers at the club are pretty good this year. We have 476 golf members, and we have 214 tennis members. Both of those numbers are beyond what we did last year. For those residents that are tuned in here and listening tonight, we're preparing now for our yearly early bird special. For those that are not familiar with that, this is a program that allows you to join the country club now, play all fall for free, and play for the 221 season. Again, you join now, you pay the 2021 rate. You get to play all fall for free. The golf early bird is going to start on the tennis early bird is going to start on August 17th. The golf early bird will be available on September 8th. This is a great deal. It could be up to 4 months of free golf and 2 months of free tennis. For information about this program or any of our other programs, you can call our membership office at 631-828-5029. That number again is 631-828-5029. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stan. We have Bruce Miller. You have a report for this evening, Bruce?
I do. I just wanted to second what you had said regarding the meeting with National Grid. I want to thank you as well for your leadership and your vision. We in Port Jefferson want to see that site continue to be a source of power generation and, of course, revenue for the village. And we have, as a board, under your direction, hired Robert Foxon as a consultant who is very knowledgeable in technical issues. He's an engineer, but he also knows much of the personnel in the power field there. So we are continuing with that. Discussed at the meeting was the fact that LIPA will be looking for 400 megawatts of battery storage on Long Island. And there's going to be probably in September a bid for information first, and then hopefully an RFP that goes out. And of course, Port Jefferson would like a nice, clean battery storage site, 100 megawatts on the property. So we are pursuing this. We have made our case with National Grid. The good news is we have a lot of good connection to the grid from Port Jefferson. The bad news is that so does Shoreham, and so does Yaphank with Caithness, and there's also some down there in Holtzville. So we'll have to see how this turns out. But just for the people who may be watching, we're actively pursuing this, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, and now I'm going to move on then to Kathy Ann. Trustee Sneeden.
I had to unmute. First, I wanted to say thank you to Mr. DeBramo. I wish you the best in your retirement from the board. I know I'm going to see you around town with your cute little puppy dog and walking around and having a good time. So it's been great working with you. I learned from you, and I learned how to campaign because of you. And so I wish you the best. Good luck to you. As far as for code and public safety, bicycles obviously have been a big issue. The mayor touched on it briefly, and I've been getting inundated with messages from the community asking what is it that we are going to do with the current problem, and if the problem seems to increase. So again, I will just mention that back in the fall, we put a new code on the books to help us with this problem with the help of Brian Egan, and made sure that was something that we could utilize to help keep the bicycles doing what they're supposed to do. We welcome bicycles, but riding properly in our village. We also have a very good procedure in place, working with Mr. Egan and Mr. Harris, getting the procedure to be able to take the bicycles of the offenders that are causing dangerous conditions to our community. So we are having a big push to enforce this code. And I just asked all of the community members to let us know when you see any of these problems. Call the code office immediately, contact Suffolk County Police as well. And that's how we need to know where to be and how to take care of it. Another big issue that continues to come up is speeding in the village on specific streets. I've been hearing from residents. So I've been doing some research and working on helping the village to get one of those speed trailers that we could own and have at our disposal to move around the community when there are particular issues on a certain street. And hopefully that will help alleviate any issues with speeding. In addition to that, I would ask that any community members, when they do have a problem or a problem area with speed or traffic, to call the 6th Precinct COPE unit. They are the ones that will send out a car to your neighborhood to sit and monitor the speed and hand out tickets. That phone number is 631-854-8670. That's for 6th Precinct COPE. That's 631-854-8670. They've been fantastic anytime before I was a trustee, having to call them in my neighborhood. And I ask you to do that. Also, of course, you can always let us know so we know where those hotspots are as well. As liaison to the different community events, we are, as the mayor mentioned, bringing back the movies on the harbor. The first one is going to be August 3rd. That will be the showing of Jaws. And
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, today's August 3rd. I think you mean August 11th?
August 11th. Yes,
That's
I was
okay.
looking at my August 3rd. Sorry, today is August.
That's okay.
August 11th and August 25th. So the 11th is Jaws. The 25th is A Dog's Life. They begin at dusk. We ask everybody to social distance, stay in your own groups with your families and whoever you come with. Keep at least 6 feet apart, if not more, from the next group over. Bring a snack. Please clean up after yourselves and enjoy the movie. I think it's a great community event, and I was happy to help bring that back. In addition to that, as liaison to the school district, I've been working with Mr. Sherrard there at the schools to bring some community fundraising things together. And I'm going to be asking if they would like to come to the movies on the harbor to bring their snack, their popcorn, and sell different items for their fundraising, whether it's for the PTSA or the different organizations, sports, whatever it might be, clubs and groups. So we welcome them to do that as well. Another big issue that continues to come up, it was quiet for a while, but is back, is the deer problem here in the village. I deal with it myself at my home. I'm an avid gardener, and it's very, very frustrating. I can tell everybody that what worked for me was to get a spray called Liquid Fence. It smells like rotten eggs when you apply it. It's absolutely awful, but it keeps the deer and the rabbits away from all of your plants. So ever since I've been using it, knock on wood, they have probably been rerouted somewhere else. That seems to work for me. If there are other issues with the deer, there's nothing that has come up to me recently as far as with the traffic and on the roadways. Margot, you look like when you want to say something.
No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at something else. You're good.
So that's my solution at this point. And if there's any other concerns or there's a growing concern for the deer population, please let us know, and then we'll look into whatever else, we may be able to help with. The courts, liaison to the courts. It's my understanding that the test for the online courts or the Zoom didn't go very well the last time. So they're making some adjustments and some tweaks to that. We're hoping that they are back online in approximately the next 3 weeks. Zombie home update. I have been asked about the zombie home that's on the corner of Sheep Pasture and Reeves Road. And the latest update with that is that our deputy village attorney, Richard Harris, has been in contact with the owner. The house is now on the historical registry, and we are looking at, from the village's standpoint, looking to facilitate that house being transferred over either to the village and then to the town of Brookhaven, or directly to the town of Brookhaven, so they can do what they need to do to fix it up and make it, whether it be a museum or whatever they want to do, because that house is now on the registry. In the meantime, the village continues to maintain the grass and the property, and of course continues their zombie tour around the home to make sure it's safe and secure, which it is, as well as all of the other homes that are on our list. I recently got an update on those, and everything is on the up and up. And with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Kathy Ann.
You're welcome.
And I think with that, we're going to go to Attorney Egan. Brian?
No report tonight, Mayor. Thank you. I just sorry to hear about Trustee DiAbramo electing not to run for election, but I have to say I'm going to miss sitting across from him, and I'm sure we're going to say many more goodbyes as we as over this next month's time. But he was an excellent, steady hand, and I certainly appreciate and very much value his service to the village. So thank you so much.
And then I'm going to move to Joe Palumbo. Joe, do you have a report for this evening? Anything to report in addition to what we've been discussing?
No, you pretty much covered everything except, did anyone touch upon the tropical storm that we expect tomorrow?
So yeah, we're posting, we have up on our website, portchef.com, we have on the homepage, we have some updates as we're getting them. We're posting the numbers to call for felled trees and things of that nature. So we posted it to the Facebook page, but thank you for bringing that to our attention. The storms should hit us. It's going to start raining tomorrow. The storm, the winds are going to start to blow towards the evening. And the heaviest part of the storm is going to be between 6 p.m. and probably 2 a.m. tomorrow while we're all home sheltering safely in our homes. At which point we'll have code out and DPW on call for felled trees and things of that nature. Kathy Ann, did you have a question?
I just wanted to add that code will be closely monitoring any flooding, downpour, and redirecting traffic if necessary. But it's best if everybody just please stay home if you don't need to be out after that time once the rain starts. If you can be home and, like the mayor said, shelter in place, go to sleep and wake up the next day and to the sunshine, let's hope.
Yeah, and I'd be a little bit more concerned if it had been raining for a longer, for long periods of time, but we have been so dry. I think we definitely need the rain, and I think the ground is going to soak that up, and hopefully we won't have too many felled trees. Usually we have more issues with our trees when we are, saturated or we have a lot of ice build up, but we shall see because we have a lot of tall oak in this neck of the wood. Dan, did you want to say something? You're on mute, hon.
I have a question either for Bruce Miller or for Brian Egan. The town of Huntington, are they close to any kind of a settlement over there?
Brian, you want to answer that question, hon?
Sure, I can take that. So
Maybe Brian, but he could answer.
yeah, I'm happy to do that. So we've been monitoring that situation very closely. I've spoken with LIPA's counsel on that extensively. You recall that when we entered into the settlement, one of the key provisions that we insisted on was that if anybody, any other parties settled, that we were going to be able to take advantage of the most favorable conditions in that next settlement, kind of like a most favored nation trading partner you'd have in that kind of a situation. That was part of the so-ordered settlement that we entered into. So if there are any other components that might go into that settlement that would benefit us, we would get that opportunity to have that in our settlement as well. So we were covered. That's the village's perspective on the micro level. From the macro level on what the town's going to do, I think everybody's guess is as good as yours. The Newsday editorial board has been throwing darts at their own dartboard to figure out what the town might do. They had a mid-August deadline, which now they've pushed back to September. I don't know if LIPA has given them that additional extension. They want to have 2 more public hearings on it, but that board is bitterly divided over it, and I think time will tell. And I don't think anybody's guess is as good as what might happen. Fundamentals of that deal are very, very still close to ours. So if they did have any other components, again, that was beneficial to us, we would get the benefit of that.
Right, but again, just confirming, Brian, that the longer they wait, the more compressed time they have. They're still looking for the same percentage and offset, so they're just going to have a steeper and more quicker journey off the.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah, I heard, though I cannot confirm this information, that apparently the school district has approved the settlement, and it's really the town that is the one that is, not so much on board, which is unusual because the school district is has a lot more to lose, or has, a bigger portion of that taxable income. Anyway, thank you, Brian.
And I think we're all amazed at the downside that Huntington would face were they to actually go to court, have a decision, and the decision went against them. This is a very low leverage situation.
Yeah, just on the refund liability alone is breathtaking.
For them. They gained.
I think Bruce Miller's coming in and out. So with that, I'm going to move on to Joe. I'm sorry, Joe, were you okay with that touching on the storm? Is everything good?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
I had the numbers here available for our residents, but I could recite them here, or they can find them at our website.
Yeah, I think it would be better they go to our website. But thank you.
Okay.
So I'm going to move on to Denise. Do you have anything further to report from the treasurer's office?
The only thing I have is the bond sale that we had last Thursday for the $720,000 bond that the mayor spoke about last meeting. We got an excellent interest rate at 1.46. So we did the right thing. All good.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much. That's great. Love it. Okay, so and then I'm going down to, oh my gosh, Barbara Sakovich, my clerk. How are you? I can't hear you. Can you guys hear Barbara?
No, we can't.
Barbara, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear
Okay,
me
good.
now?
Can you hear me now? I too just want to wish Bruce well. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, and enjoy life after being a village trustee. And I'll see you around town. The other thing I just wanted to report was the village election, which was originally on June 16th because of COVID, is now delayed to Tuesday, September 15th. We have 2 trustee positions that are open. The polling center will be at the village center, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Anyone listening from the public, I do have some election inspector positions available. It is a paid position. I have shifts of all day that are available as well. So just contact me here at Village Hall.
And our next meeting is?
Our next meeting is August 17th, 3:30 in the afternoon via Zoom.
Good. Okay. And at that meeting, I'm hoping that maybe we can review the LIPA Phase 1 draft of Mr. Fox's report to bring everybody up to speed with that. I know we do have some people who are in attendance watching this meeting, and I'm going to open it up to see if they have any comment. And I'm hoping our administrator here, the man behind the curtain, can help us with the attendees and trying to see if they have a question or comment that they'd like to share.
Sure. We have 8 attendees right now, Margot. We have 1 raised hand. So I'm going to start with Rebecca, if that's all right. Rebecca, I'm going to allow you to talk in a minute and just unmute yourself.
And so Lou, just make sure that you instruct them to please state their full name and address for the record.
Hi there, this is Rebecca Casse, 1037 Main Street, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you all, as always, for your great work. It's great being here, hearing about it, and looking forward to hearing more as things develop. Upper Port, Bruce DeBrama, thank you so much for all of your work, and congratulations on really a great legacy that you'll leave here in the village. And last thing, Kathy Ann, thank you for the information about who to call to hopefully get a car to sit and give tickets. I know we live on Main Street here, and it's sometimes feels like the speed, like the racetrack that Long Islanders really want is right here on Main Street. So I'm excited to call that number and get a public cop here.
You're first on the list for that speed trailer. So
fabulous.
It's very difficult to get it from the county, so we're looking to buy our own, and you guys get it first.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully that'll help. And then my request sort of goes hand in hand with that. We noticed the property sort of diagonally across from us, 650 Main Street, has a hidden driveway there, and it's right at the curve. Sort of if you're coming up from Infant Jesus Church and heading up the hill, it's sandwiched between the 2 larger office buildings there. And so we've noticed recently that cars trying to come in and out of that driveway, it's just kind of inevitable that, you know, there might be an accident. And so we thought proactively to request a hidden driveway sign and also a mirror on the telephone post opposite the driveway. If I don't know if these are the things that we can ask the village for, or if that's more of a state question because it's a state road.
No, I think I know that the very large office building in, as you approach the subject premises 650, the property north of it, I actually, when you try and exit that parking lot, they have a mirror there so they can see. So those are two excellent suggestions. Joe and Kathy Ann, if you can maybe reach out to Steve at DPW, see how he would coordinate that. I'm not really sure if we need DOT permission. Obviously, that's not a big lift. Hopefully they'll be responsive.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And again, Kathy Ann and everyone there, thank you for working on that speed trap sign. I know both us on Main Street, my neighbors here, and all of the village will benefit from it. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other attendee who has a hand up?
We have no more hands raised. We did have one question in the Q&A from Mr. Ed Heischfer. So I'll ask Ed if he wants to speak. And Ed, please leave your name and address for the record. And I'm allowing you to talk now.
Okay.
Unmute, right?
Ed Heischfer, 15 Evans Place.
Hello, Ed. How are you tonight?
Okay. Previously, there was discussions about the West Broadway sidewalk. I was wondering if there's any progress on that.
That's a good question, Ed. We have been reaching out to our government relations representative at DOT, asking her for a status on that sidewalk. It was originally proposed to be installed this summer into fall, as was the paving of West Broadway, again from the three-way intersection, I think, all the way to Nichols Road. I think both of those projects have been delayed due to COVID, but Barbara, has Meg Daniels called us back yet?
No, they acknowledged our question, but they have not gotten back to us yet. I know she was getting in touch with the committee, but everyone's still remote, and due to COVID, I will reach out again. It will be, we've reached out twice.
Yeah. As soon as we know, Ed, we'll give the community an update.
So the state's in charge of the sidewalk as well?
Yes, it's a state road, West Broadway.
Comment?
Thank you.
I just like to comment that in my travels through the village, speaking with residents, there is concern about the lack of sidewalks generally in many places in the village. There's more and more emphasis on needing to get out and walk versus other forms of recreation, which are no longer viable. And just the exercise factor, and you know, people are walking in the roads. It's dangerous. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another attendee who's, I think I saw another hand go up.
Yep, we have another hand that went up, Mr. Charles Vetter. So I'm going to allow to talk. And Mr. Vetter, if you have video, I will promote you to panelist, and we'll see if that works. Again, please put your name and address for the record.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
My name's Charles Vetter. I am the new property manager over at the Shipyard, 201 West Broadway. I just want to call today, kind of introduce myself, along with kind of touch base with Kathy Ann about we're having some issues with the bicycles and the kids. We haven't recently since that last incident we saw on the news, but just wondering what we can do, or if there's anything we should be doing to, you know, help out with this.
Charles, nice to meet you and welcome. What problems is the shipyard specifically having with the bicycles? Where are you seeing them?
Well, we're more with the kids and the bicycles is the problems that we're seeing over there. I'm guessing maybe I'm referring to a different thing. A few weeks ago, there was an article in the Patch that there were some kids on bicycles, a lot of kids on bicycles, 30 of them. And I know
Yeah.
a lot of people in Port Jeff have been having this issue.
So you mean just in general in the village, or have they been coming onto the shipyard property?
They're coming onto the shipyard property for me, but I was just saying this article was about, I think, a CrossFit place in
Yes.
downtown.
Yeah.
And there was an incident there, and I believe
Yeah,
we all know that.
Yeah, I'm very aware
But
that I've seen
we've had many incidents at the shipyard. Just wondering what we can do. Just be every time we call the police, it's obviously too late. Is there anything we can do? Just call the police and set up a time, or call code enforcement and set up a time? You guys can be around, or
Well, if you wanted to sit down with myself and our code chief, I'd be happy to set up a meeting. Anytime during the week, I can do that to discuss it. I would say to you that you're doing the right thing. Call the police, call code.
yes.
You know, I don't know, and you don't have to tell me now, but you know, any type of camera footage that you have is always extremely beneficial. Any firsthand knowledge or interaction between your residents and anybody on the bicycles. But it's best to not have any interaction with them, as we saw on that video from the CrossFit place. But I'd be happy to talk to you in person, you know, and see if we can brainstorm it even further. But right now it's just imperative to call the police and call the code
Yes.
office immediately.
Yes, it's been good for the past few weeks since that incident, and probably they got the problem people, which is hopeful.
Yeah.
So let me, I'll reach out to you separately tomorrow. Sorry to take up on this meeting space, but I just wanted to introduce myself as the main thing here.
Yeah,
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming forward, and sorry, there's a delay, I think. Thank you for coming forward, and it's always good that everybody else, you know, gets to hear what's going on as well. But yes, please, trustee-snaden@portjeff.com is my email, or you can find that on our website, and we'll definitely hook up.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. Thank you for introducing yourself. We look, quality of life and downtown for everyone is extremely important to us. So our chief of code was on vacation last week at a lake. He didn't have much of a vacation because we were constantly reaching out to him. Okay.
Where'd you go?
Did we lose Margot?
Lost the mayor?
Margot.
Trying to get her back, guys. Hold on one second. There
Where'd
she
you
is.
go?
She's back.
You're muted.
That's crazy.
There you go. You're back.
All right, we had one more. I think we had another young lady with her hand up as an attendee.
Correct. Caitlin Somerville, I'm going to promote you to a panelist. Hold on one sec. Caitlin, you should be in. I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I am Caitlin Somerville, 105 Foxdale Lane. I previously lived at 150 North Country Road, the Jefferson Woods Apartments, which for the record are incredible apartments for young professionals. But I do have a major concern about the double light that is over there. It's, I'm going to give you the exact streets. It's North Columbia Street and Edgewood Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that the light turns red, cars go right through the red light. And I've watched this probably for the past year or so, if not more. And I've tried contacting as many different people as I could. But they told me to come back to the village and see if anyone can help.
Okay, so Caitlin, I appreciate that because I don't know if Mr. Pollock Sr., who is signed up to watch this, is watching, but he would complain about these two lights on an ongoing basis, especially to Suffolk when they attended our monthly meetings. I think we should consider at this point, guys, I think we should consider hiring a traffic expert to look at these lights and how they're interacting or not interacting. What is, Kathy Ann, were you going to say something?
I was going to myself reach out to the contacts that I have with our COPE unit and see what they would suggest, or if they can definitely have a car there, but that's a short-term solution. I think in the meantime, we should do both. You know, I can do that for an immediate response, and if we can also then look further into maybe a traffic study there. I don't know what that procedure is, but
I mean, we remember at Barnum with the people driving straight through onto the ramp and into the harbor there. We had some very simple, not simple, but we changed the traffic lights there. So when you're approaching north on Barnum, when the light goes green, it's a green red, or a green left or a green right. It's no more green forward. So I sometimes just think maybe looking at the signals and how instead of just going to green and red, that maybe we have arrows or something like that. That may help, because this is Caitlin, this has been a problem for a long time, and it doesn't seem to be. We can't seem to address it with the Suffolk County enforcing that intersection because they're just not available. We can complain and we can complain, but they're just not showing up to help us with the enforcement. They'd have to be there on the hour, every hour. So I think we have to look at these two lights and how they're interacting together and come up with a different solution. That's my feeling after hearing this for, many, many, many years now.
Comment?
Sure.
I concur with your thinking regarding the consultant. I would add, though, Mr. Pollock's comments have always been that when there was time put into this effort, that the Suffolk County Police positioned themselves in such a way as that they would be clearly visible, and people don't tend to run lights when they see a police car. So that's part of the problem.
Right. And again, it's just asking for continuous police presence is not, it's not practical. Number one, it's not really solving the problem. Number two. But Caitlin, we're going to look into that, and I appreciate your taking your time this evening and bringing that to our attention. And we hope we can follow up with you in the very near future.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm
Any
gonna
other?
move Caitlin back to attendee. We have
Are
no
there any-
more raised hands at the moment.
Okay, that's good to know. Any other comments from the board members? Okay, so Bruce, why don't you do the honors? Bruce DeBramo. You're on mute. Unmute.
I move that we close tonight's meeting.
I second that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Lou.
No problem.
Thanks, board members.
Night all.
Thank you, Lou.
Night, everyone.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, John Boy.